Welcome to Game Fondue Reviews. In this video, we're going to take a look at Wits and Wagers. Wits and Wagers is a gambling trivia game. Let's jump right in with a description of the rules, see a few example turns being played, then I'll be back for some closing remarks. This is Wits and Wagers, set up for a 5-player game to set up. Each player just has to pick a color, take the answer board and 2 wager chips in that color, along with a dry erase marker. And then it's good to give people a napkin or a tissue or a paper towel or something to wipe off the boards with. But in this video, I'm just going to use my finger. Also, you nominate a question reader who draws 7 question cards that are going to correspond with the 7 rounds of the game. Then just put the poker chips and sand timer nearby. The game is played over 7 rounds composed of 5 phases, which are ask a question, sort guesses, place bets, pay out bets, and then just reset for the next round. The player with the most points or chips at the end of the 7th round wins. For our purposes, the wagered chip and these red ones are worth 1 each, the blue are worth 5, and the green will be worth 25. So all you do to ask a question is you just take a question and you read the question that corresponds with the round we're in. So in the first round, we're going to pick question 1, and the second round, we'll use the second card, and question 2, and so on until we get to the bottom of the pile. So for instance, this is what percent of the world's surface is water? So everybody's going to write down their guesses, and we're going to put the sand timer over, so you have a certain amount of time to do so. You can put any numerical answer. All the questions in this game have a numerical answer. So let's just pretend this guy thinks it's 70.1%. Okay, so once everybody's answers are in, they're going to put them face down on the mat, and we're going to reveal them during the sort guesses phase. So that technically occurs when the sand timer runs out, which is just about happening. So we're going to flip these all face up, and we're going to put them from lowest to highest with the middle answer in the center. We have a 5-player game, and if we have 5 unique answers, the middle answer will always be in the center. So we know that 70 looks to be the lowest, so that's going to go on this side. Smaller than the smallest helps you remember which side of the board to go on. So 70.1 will be just bigger than that, and then 71, 72, and 75. If this was an even number player game, or if 2 of the bets were the same, so if 2 people put 72, for instance, it would look like this. You would skip that middle space, and then that's how you would do it. But it's always circled around the middle, so then you just lay out the bets and you sort them from lowest, on the smaller than the smallest side, to highest. Next is the place bets phase, and all you do here is, again, you turn over the sand timer, and players can bet on the different spaces. You can bet on up to 2 spaces, because you always have to bet your wager chip on each space, but you can put 2 wager chips on 1 space, or you can spread them out to different spaces. Later in the game, as you get more chips, you can also bet these chips, but you'll just put them under the wager chips like so. So players are just going to bet. Let's throw out some bets kind of at random here. I'm not thinking about it too much. And of course, at the beginning of the game, nobody has any extra chips, so we're going to remove them at this time. So once the sand timer runs out, all the bets are placed, and we're going to determine who had the best answer. The way we're going to do that is we're going to read the answer to the question, and it turns out to be 70.8%. So the best answer is the closest answer without going over. Although 71% is closer than 70.1%, this is over because it's higher than the answer, so this is going to be the winning area. So everybody who bet here is going to pay out. And the different spaces of the board pay out differently. You see, the closer to the center you are, the less of a payout you get. The farther from the center, the more extreme. And you can always bet smaller than the smallest, which pays the highest of all. So all of these losing bets we're going to take off the board, but players always get their wager chips back, and that's why they should always bet at each turn. But if you were to bet some of these, like if these were bet over here, that's the incorrect area, so these would be lost. So this person bet 2, and it pays 3 to 1, so that means they're going to get 6 chips, because they're going to get 3 for every chip they bet there. This person would get 3, and this person would get 3. Also, in all cases, whichever player or players, if they had the same answer, put the best answer in the group, that player gets 3 extra chips. So in this case, this guy would get 6. Yellow would get 3 for betting here because it pays 3 to 1, and 3 for being right, so he would also get 6, and red would get 3. So then we just toss this card aside. We move on to the second in the following round, and the game just proceeds like this until the end of the 7th round. Whoever has the most chips is going to be the winner. Let's get going with this example playthrough. So the first thing we're going to do is read the question, which is how many provinces make up Canada? And this is according to the CIA World Fact Book, May 31st, 2007. Gives you the source, especially if you have some older editions like myself. So everybody's going to write down how many provinces they think there are in Canada. And this guy thinks there's 16. He doesn't know much about Canada. And of course, the sand timer was turned over, but everybody else's answers are already written. So we're going to sort them from smallest to largest. And since there's an odd number of unique answers, we know we're going to use that middle space as well. So we got 4, 8, 12, 16, and 48. So now we're going to go into the betting phase. So we're going to flip this over and everybody can choose where to bet their chips. Blue is really, he thinks it is that big, but he's going to bet on these two big numbers over here. Purple has no idea, so purple's going to bet on himself and green, although you certainly don't have to bet on yourself. Green's going to go all in on red. He thinks, you know what, red's got this, and red's going to put one here and here. And yellow thinks blue might even be right. He's going to go in the two extremes because he has no idea. And then as the sand timer runs out, we will reveal the answer, which is actually 10. So the most correct answer is this 8 here, even though it's equidistant with the 12 and the 8 in that 10 is between them. 8 is going to be the answer that pays out, so everybody's other chips return to their areas. Remember, you can never lose these wager chips. But the green player is going to get 3, even though he didn't bet on it, for being the best answer. So he's going to take those chips. And then the red player and the purple player each get 3, because this space pays out 3-1. Now remember, when you bet these chips later, you can actually lose them. So you have to be careful. So we're going to do one more round to illustrate that purpose. So we're going to start the next round just by asking another question from the next card. How many pounds does the Oscar statuette weigh? Now, if you don't want to hear the answer to that, please turn off the video. But everybody's just going to kind of put down an answer here, and then we're going to sort them from lowest to highest as we just did. This guy thinks it's 12. This guy thinks 3. This guy thinks 4.5. This guy thinks 6. And this guy thinks 9. All right, so we're going to sort them from smallest to biggest. Of course, this was done, and they're all laid face down in the center, as we've shown before. So they're all sorted. And then we are going to place our bets. Now this time, when people place their bets, they may want to place some of these extra chips, but they can be lost and they'll always go under your space. And again, you're only limited to 2 spaces, so you can never bet these chips by themselves. You got to put a wager chip with them. So the yellow guy is going to go all in right here. Red's going to bet one of them chips here and one of those chips over here. And purple's going to do 2 chips on this space and no chips at all on this bigger one. And green doesn't want to bet his chips yet, so he's just going to hold on to them, and he's going to bet here and here because he has no idea. So we reveal the answer. The answer is actually 8.5 pounds. So this 6 is the most correct. So all these chips that are not bet there are going to be lost. And then the green player is going to get 3 for having the best answer. And then all the chips here pay 2-1 because it's the center space, so that's going to be 2 more for green, 2 for blue, and 4 for yellow. Now let's pretend yellow had in fact bet one of these chips. Then yellow would have had 3 here, so he would have got 6 back. And the game just proceeds like this. At the end of the 7th round, whoever has the most points or chips is the winner. According to the box that I have, Wits and Wagers is the most award-winning party game of all time, and it's well-deserved. The game is a lot of fun, and it's really easy to play. One of the great things about the game is you can get every answer totally wrong and still win, because it only matters, you know, how you bet, essentially. So that keeps everybody in the game, and it's kind of funny sometimes to give an answer that's way different from everybody else's, but sometimes that ends up being the closest anyway because nobody has any idea. It works great for families. You can teach it to anybody in a few minutes. Grandma can sit down and play this game if she doesn't play any other games. This one's really easy, and she might even know some things that other people you know, have no idea about. If you have more than 7 players, just break into teams. It still works great. Teams can, you know, work together and bet together. But yeah, this one's a blast. It's great for any type of party setting. That's Wits and Wagers.